me tell you a little bit about fascism. Fascism was discredited and suppressed at the end of World War II, but it was not entirely destroyed.
A variety of regimes exist today which many people would describe as fascist. In Portugal, the fascism established by Salazar persisted despite his retirement and subsequent death. The Portuguese regime continued to wage colonial wars abroad in Angola, Portuguese Guinea, and Mozambique, and to persecute opponents at home.
General Franco's totalitarian regime remained in power in Spain until 1975. In an effort to gain acceptance in the European community, Franco's government curtailed some of its harsher methods, although it permitted few civil rights.
In Greece, members of the military took over the country by a coup in 1967, claiming a communist threat. Then they eliminated or imprisoned all political opposition. Some observers consider the Greek government a fascist regime, and some still do.
Many people see parallels between the present treatment of homosexuals in the United States and the treatment of Jews in Germany between 1933 and 1939.
One of the most controversial charges in fascism, however, is that which has been leveled by radicals against the government of the United States.
In part one of this set, we reviewed some of the characteristics shared by most fascist regimes.
We also indicated some of the basic differences between fascism and liberal democracy.
Keep these definitions in mind during the following debate. In this debate, two students, Joyce and Neil, will look at some photographs of past and recent United States history, and we'll try to decide whether the charge of fascism has any validity when applied to the United States government and society.
What about the 4 students gunned down at Kent State and all of the Black Panthers killed by the police? Isn't it fascism when the police and the National Guard go around shooting people who dissent? Isn't it fascism when the police and the FBI spy and keep records on anyone who doesn't conform?
No, Joyce, it's not fascism at all. Every government has to protect itself against people who want to destroy it. Of course I don't like students getting shot, but people who live in a democracy must have respect for its laws. We can't let minority groups use strong-arm methods to dictate the majority.
But if we have a democratic government, then why does it administer its laws with justice? Or why doesn't it administer its laws with justice and without political bias? Why does it put people on trial for their political beliefs, like the 7 who were tried for demonstrating at the 1968 Democratic Convention in Chicago? Let me read you what one of the defendants, Dave Dellinger, said at the trial. You want us to be like good Germans, supporting the evils of our decade, and we refused to be good Germans and came to Chicago and demonstrated. Now you want us to be like good Jews, going quietly and politely to the concentration camps, while you and the court suppress freedom and the truth? What about free speech in America? Weren't the Chicago 7 on trial because they disagreed with the government and said so?
The Chicago 7 weren't on trial for what they said, they were on trial for what they did. Anyway, I think radicals are hypocrites to talk about free speech. How many times have militants broken up meetings and denied government officials the right by yelling and heckling? I mean, come on. Who's using fascist tactics there?
Well, if you want to talk about fascist tactics, what about China? We've let thousands of sweatshop workers suffer so big corporations can manufacture their products at a low rate. And because we're committed to putting down communism or socialist revolutions, no matter what, that's why we sell so many arms to reactionary governments all over the world. We always support the rich against the poor.
Joyce. I admit the way workers are treated in China has been a mistake, but our motives are right. And you people who go on peace demonstrations are only helping our enemies. Communism is still a threat to democracy. If we show any weakness, the communists will take advantage of it as quickly as they can.
Don't you think the fear of communism is a bit old-fashioned and even dangerous? Don't forget about the anti-communism was one of the main forces behind the fascist regimes in Italy and Germany.
Wait a minute, that's guilt by association. Just because I'm against the communists and love my country does not mean I'm a fascist.
And just because I'm in favor of government restrictions doesn't mean I'm a communist. And anyways, I think we should worry a lot less about communists abroad and a lot more about injustice at home. I can't see much of a difference between the homosexuals being treated in the United States and the way Jews were treated in Nazi Germany. We've robbed the homosexuals of their rights, their freedom, their equality, and their dignity. Isn't that what Hitler did to the Jews?
Hold on. Hitler slaughtered 6 million Jews. There's no real comparison. Homosexuals in the United States have been winning legal equality, and soon they'll have real equality. Social change always takes time, but America always changes for the better when it needs to, and it will change a lot faster if you militants don't push people too hard.
That stuff about change being better for the better is an illusion. Better for the rich, maybe, for the big corporations and the military who run this country. But the people in America are scared by what's happening in the rest of the world. And that makes them more repressive, more likely to go fascist. That's why America has become so violent and so polarized. Only a revolution by the people can save it.
And if you had your revolution, wouldn't we get a dictatorship instead of a democracy?
No.
You want to tear down our government, but you don't have any program for building a better society than the one we've got.
This debate has only begun to scratch the surface. Perhaps the truth about the United States and the rest of the world can be discussed more meaningfully if we carefully define such labels as fascism and communism.
Perhaps the truth can be discussed more deeply if we put labels aside altogether. Each of you must ultimately decide these issues for yourself. We hope that your class will carry on this debate.
Bum, 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 bum.